facing a huge problem in our waters, red tide. But just how important is it to you? Red tide is devastating to just about everything. It's destroying our fishing businesses, our marine life, and affecting humans negatively as well. Today we're going to figure out just what red tide is, who and what it's affecting, and what can be done to stop it. To begin, let's start off with some background on red tide, also known as Carina brevis. It's a bacterium that's being moved up quickly through our food chain, starting with our filter feeders. Due to all these blooms of algae moving up the food chain, we are facing large populations of fish that are being killed off and washed up ashore on our beaches. It's producing unsafe seafood and affecting our human health. The only problem is that farmers and average people are using pesticides and chemicals that are being washed into our oceans and rivers, causing the algae to continue to grow. Now that we know just what red tide is and what it's causing, let's dive right into it and to see just how it is affecting our waters. The bacteria is first consumed by our filter feeders, like oysters. Then it's quickly moved up the chain and affected fish that we eat, then causes problems for us. Countless amounts of fish, dolphins, and endangered manatees are being washed up ashore dead. They have suffered this fate already, and if we don't find a way to end it, it will never end. Enough about our marine life, though. Let's see just how red tide affects our day-to-day life. Due to having red tide in all of our water, it is severely impacting our marine animals and taking a toll on our fishing economy, the foods we eat, and our respiratory health. According to StartOne.org, red tide is causing millions of dollars in lost revenue for Florida hotels, restaurants, fishing businesses, and boating attractions, meaning that Florida is losing ample amounts of money continuously throughout this time. Along with that, shellfish are becoming unsafe to eat. Due to them being filter feeders, there's a decent amount of the red tide bacterium that's being ingested into their system, meaning that it's negatively affecting the entire food chain, which includes us as we consume them. Just to make matters worse for humans, some people have suffered respiratory problems. Most of the people who are suffering severely are those that have been caused by asthma. They are facing life-threatening scenarios because of the air that we are breathing and that contains red tide. Although red tide looks like it's completely taking over, people are vigorously working on ways to stop it. Currently, algal blooms, such as red tide, are being actively researched on many ways on how to prevent them and predict how they will affect our economy or our ecosystems in the future. We're working on ways to be able to predict the algal blooms. Along with that, scientists in Massachusetts are working on experimenting with sensors that will be able to detect when red tide has entered our waters, as well as the patterns that are being caused with it. Unfortunately, as of now, our minuscule knowledge of red tide leads us to be unsure of what we as civilians can do to help, other than reducing runoff close to our shore and beach cleanups. We must, however, continue to expand our research and knowledge on the matter. We both know and have evidence that chemicals and pesticides that farmers are using are negatively affecting and allowing the algal to bloom. It is giving the algae bloom food in order to grow. We do, however, not know the cause of what red tide is. Unfortunately, as stated by the New York Times about this year's harmful algal blooms, it's the longest one since 2006, when it lasted 17 months long. Scientists are generally agreeing that algae blooms are becoming worse and are being intensified by agricultural runoff, as well as the heat that is being added toward the algal blooms that is allowing them to continue to grow. That is worsening our water systems. Thank you.